Hey, my name is Lexi, and in this video, I'm going to talk to you about reading a meter in Pro Tools. You can book the most expensive studio on the block that recorded all kinds of multi-platinum artists, but understand that it's not necessarily about the studio you record in. The way you record, or the way your record turns out, has way more to do with how you recorded it than it does where you recorded it. So starting at the basic level, you need to understand how to perform in the booth to get the best quality recording. So let's talk about how the signal from the mic is going into Pro Tools or whatever software your engineer is recording into. Your microphone is running from the booth and going either straight into Pro Tools or through a preamp and then into Pro Tools. Your engineer controls the level of the microphone, which means how much signal is getting into Pro Tools. Your engineer is sitting at the desk and playing with a little knob that determines how much or how little signal makes it into the program. A signal can be really hot or really low. Now, how can the engineer tell if there's too much or not enough signal coming through? He or she is looking at the meter. A meter gives a visual of how much signal is coming into Pro Tools. And there are 3 levels: green, yellow, and red. Before I get into explaining that, I want you to understand what a meter is first off. So this is a visual representation of how much or how little signal is coming into Pro Tools. So see if I can zoom in for you. Ow, boom, meter. You see how I'm talking into this microphone and you can see how much level I have, or if I speak really low, it goes into the green. If I'm speaking somewhat loud, it goes into yellow. If I'm talking too loud, it's going into red. So I'm going to explain to you all of that. When a signal is really hot, that's when it will go into that red. But let's start with the green meter first off. So a green meter means that you're all good. And let me do this visual representation too. So I'm just going to speak softly. A green meter. Okay, that's not going to work. Well, let me turn down my mic gain. Check. 1, 2. Check. And you may have to turn up the volume on your headphones for this one or the volume on your computer for this one. A green meter means that you're all good and that more signal could be allowed in. This means your engineer can turn the gain up or turn up how much signal is coming through. So right now we're in the green. That means that we're good, but the signal could stand to be let up a little bit more. Now, I'm going to explain in another video that I do. I'm turning the gain up here. I'm going to explain in another video that I do how the artist, the artist, can manipulate how much signal or how much signal strength, is coming through the mic by how you're singing into the microphone. And there are different ways you can sing into the microphone depending on the intensity and the volume of the performance you're going to be giving. So check that out. Be on the lookout for that video coming up at you. So anyway, a green meter means that you're all good. You could stand to let in more signal, and the engineer should probably turn the gain up. So now what I'm currently recording in is a yellow meter. So I'm going to zoom in again just because it's also really fun too. Yellow meter. So this means that you have plenty of signal coming through and that you don't need to turn the signal or the gain up anymore because you'll risk peaking. You may also choose to turn the signal down a little bit if it's at the higher end of the yellow. So you see how I'm kind of in the middle here. Well, if I speak just slightly louder, now I'm in the darker yellow portion. That can even be considered orange to a degree, but the sweet spot for recording is basically going to be where it's just jumping here and staying in that mid yellow range and not all the way up to yellow because then it risks peaking. So yeah, otherwise this is a sweet spot. You're getting just enough signal and you can go ahead and proceed with that. Now let's get into a red meter. A red meter means that you have way too much signal coming in and your recording is probably distorted. So when the meter is in the red, and I'm going to turn up my gain, bear with me because this is going to sound really bad. So those of you who have headphones, I apologize. A red meter means you have way too much signal coming in and your recording is probably distorted. When the meter is in the red, your signal is too hot. The signal that you're seeing right now, it's too hot. So this means you should turn the gain down, and maybe if you're the artist recording in the booth, maybe you should physically back off of the mic a little bit. So you see how it just sounded really crunchy and just not as clear as we are now in that sweet spot. That's what it means to have too hot of a signal, or that's what it can sound like if you're recording in the red. So now I want to show you, let me zoom out of here. Let's record at these different levels. So let's call this green. The next one will be yellow. And the next one will be red. And for further demonstration, we'll just change the colors of these to match what I'm showing you. Oh my gosh. All right. I'm going to record these in green, and then I want you to look at the difference in the waveform, how, it changes between all of them. Switch this. All right. So turning down into green. Check, check, check. Check, check, 1, 2. Mic check, 1, 2. So a green meter means that you're all good and that more signal could be allowed in. This means your engineer can turn the gain up or turn up how much signal can come through. All right, so that's green. We're going to drag that down. I meant to drag it, not copy it. Mute that. So that's what a green waveform will look like. And now let's turn this up so that we have it in yellow. Check, check, check. All right. And let's get into the sweet spot some more. Check, check, check. 1, 2. Good. All right. A yellow meter means you have plenty of signal coming through and that you don't need to turn the gain up anymore because you'll risk peaking. You may also choose to turn the signal down a little bit if it's at the higher end of yellow in the meter. That is what a nice yellow signal might look like. And now we're going to go into the red. Check, check. Oh, man. Again, if you have headphones, I apologize. A red meter means you have way too much signal coming in and your recording is probably distorted. When the meter is in the red, your signal is too hot. This means you should turn the gain down and maybe back off the mic a bit. All right, let's go back to that sweet spot. I can turn it down even more. All right, so now let's look at these 3 different waveforms. We have green, we have yellow, and we have red. So when you have a green waveform, it's going to look like this. Everything looks really thin, and it just looks like it could be beefed up a little bit more, right? When you get to the yellow signal, everything's definitely been beefed up a bit more, but there aren't any parts that are distorted. Nothing is flat, right? But then you look at the red and how you record it into the red. You not only could you hear the distortion, you can also see the distortion because the waveform is so flat. That's what you want to avoid when you're recording. Whether you're the artist or the engineer, you want to avoid a flat waveform because there are no dynamics in the sound. And if you can't hear the dynamics, the highs and the lows and everything is just really loud, you're not going to get a good sound quality recording. So as an artist, you need to understand that the way you're singing or rapping into the mic can affect the level of quality you're going to get in the studio. You can go to an expensive studio and expect to get a great sound just because Lil Wayne recorded there or Ray Shremmerd or even a Beyonce. But without this basic understanding of how to make sure you're recording well, you're not going to end up with something that you like. And you definitely won't sound like Lil Wayne or Ray Shremmerd. Definitely won't sound like a Beyonce, okay? So, and this video can be for new engineers as well. Obviously, understanding how to read a meter will ensure that you're recording a great sound quality track. A good recording sets the tone for the mix, and mixing is made easier with something that's been recorded well. And I'm going to repeat that one more time so you get it and probably flash some big words across the screen as well too. A good recording sets the tone for the mix. Mixing is made easier with something that's been recorded well. So a good recording sets the foundation for a good mix. Just keep that in mind. A good recording sets the foundation for a good mix. Always remember that. I hope you've enjoyed this video and learned something new today. If you have any questions or requests, feel free to leave a comment below, or you can email me at info@LexCATL.com. Until next time, though, peace. drops. They should make sense musically, not only from the perspective of the beat, the instrumental, the structure of the song, but it should also make sense musically within like the actual context of the song itself. So emphasizing certain words or phrases, you want to make sure that it just makes sense wherever you're placing these drops.